Hello and welcome to Backstage, bringing you all of the latest news and reviews from the world of TV and film. I'm Katie Spencer, Sky's entertainment correspondent, and I'm joined by arts and entertainment editor Claire Gregory.
Hello, hello.
And all the way from Los Angeles this week, TV and film reviewer Stevie Wong.
Hello.
Coming up on this week's show.
Nina Jekyll is excellence incarnate. She demands the same from others.
What we're looking for is someone who could help about the house.
Will you seek revenge, Abby?
You really expect me to answer that? What am I gonna do?
I love you a lot.
If you loved us, you wouldn't be in jail.
We're not gonna make 100K this year. It's gonna be more like 600.
But before we get into all of that, look, a staple of daytime TV is about to be no more. Doctors is being axed. Claire, you have a theory about all of this.
Well, I just think there's a little bit of a pattern to be keeping an eye on here. We've also seen announced this week that Channel 4's Steph's Packed Lunch is being axed. And of course, this morning's in a bit of a kind of strange limbo period while we sort of wait to see if a new pairing will take over from Phil and Holly. So is daytime TV just suffering a bit at the moment in the UK?
Stevie Wong, is this the end of linear TV?
Over here in the United States, all of our daytime stuff is based on talk shows, and then we have celebrities now moving, like Drew Barrymore and Jennifer Hudson and I mean they just and Kelly Clarkson. So those are our afternoon hours now, and we don't even have enough soap operas, which was always a staple of our daytime. I think there's only like 2 left or 3 total.
It's a shame though, because so many good actors have come out of this. So who is it again?
Eddie Redmayne, Sheridan Smith, Jodie Comer. I mean, big names, all kind of, started their careers on Doctors.
What will they do now? Oh well, we'll have to work out what the next big programme is that launches these new people's careers and let you know. Should we get into our reviews then for this week? Starting with one that's out in the cinemas, Doctor Jekyll.
There are cameras in almost every room.
Nina has been resistant to coexisting with staff until you.
I hate you're working for Nina Jekyll. We're all alone up there.
I have a daughter, and to see her, I need this job.
You forgot Nina's meds.
It's almost like there's been a million sort of reinterpretations of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde novella, if you like. But this one stars the wonderful Eddie Izzard. What did we think about it?
Well, this is Hammer horror, so it's supposed to be a bit cheesy and it's kind of trying to be a little bit scary, but it didn't necessarily hit the mark all the time. I think it was felt a bit silly at times.
I think this is going to be one that people just have to judge for themselves, don't they? It's an interesting take on it. I'm not sure it kind of works 100% really in my eyes. We were, though, fortunate enough to get some time to talk to Eddie Izzard themselves. And here's what she had to say to us.
It's open gender casting. A man was considered, a woman was considered. Joe brought the story to me as trans. But the interesting thing, the beautiful thing, I think, is that it doesn't affect the story. It is about this dark power of Rachel Hyde, and who is she, what is she, how does she arrive, and what has she got to do with Nina Jekyll, and as an acting role it's fantastic, because you hopefully as people are watching the scenes they can't quite tell who is controlling this trans woman, which way she's going, but the fact that she's trans, it doesn't matter.
And Dr. Jekyll is in cinemas now. Look, coming to the BBC very soon, it's the second series of the award-winning show, Time.
Have you been inside before?
Yeah, twice.
Why did you do it?
I don't know.
You're pregnant?
Gotta be wrong because there's no way that I could be.
They were always taking the kids.
How do I get them back?
I know who you killed.
You might recall this one because it won so many blooming awards, didn't it?
Yeah.
BAFTAs and what have you for Sean Bean. It's set in a prison. Jimmy McGovern, the brilliant screenwriter who's done so many good things over the years. Returning, though, setting this with a whole new cast this time around, isn't he?
Yeah, in a women's prison, completely distinct. And as you see in the trailer, big stars in this. You've got Jodie Whittaker, of course, Doctor Who, and Bella Ramsey, who was recently, absolutely gave a brilliant performance in The Last of Us. So A very different show from the first one, but still set within a prison, looking at a whole host of women's issues this time, really, and absolutely, heartbreaking at times.
Heartbreaking is the word. And there's just so many phenomenal performances by the actresses in this as well. Bella Ramsey, we knew that they were a good actor anyway, but in this, they are phenomenal. Stevie, what did you make of it?
I really appreciated the series, and I have to give kudos to the showrunner Jimmy McGovern, because obviously this is a series about women, and so he actually stepped back a little bit and asked this woman Helen Black to step in and kind of take the lead on these stories. What I think is so beautiful is that it's well earned. You don't show up and because obviously you go in there and everybody just assumes you're a criminal, but there's so many backstories. And then of course there's this third actress named Tamara Lawrence, who's kind of makes up this triangle of storylines. Her silent performance, it's very quiet, but the payoff is it's heartbreaking. And as you guys said, it's like these are stories that I think are based on kind of conversations that Helen Black kind of went in and discovered. And so it just feels like all of these actresses had this they just felt like they needed to tell these stories, and you can just see the performances. I mean, I think at the end of the year, during BAFTA season next year, this is going to be all over, and we'll be seeing a lot of awards just being like divvied out to this cast.
All of the awards, just basically give them all of the awards, trolley them into them. They fully deserve it for this. And Time Series 2 is going to be available from October the 29th on BBC One and iPlayer. Shall we switch to Netflix then for our next one? Pain Hustlers, starring none other than Emily Blunt and Chris Evans.
Give me a shot, please.
Don't embarrass me.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Oh. It's
Pleasure is mine. It's commissions that get you into paradise. Get a doctor to prescribe your drug. You know what we bill on a full dose script?
What?
40 grand.
a year?
A month.
Look, there have been so many dramas about the opioid crisis. Did we need another one of these?
Possibly not, I mean, the thing with this film is it is based on a kind of, really fascinating and almost crazier than life kind of true story. And then you've got these incredible lead actors in it. You've got Emily Blunt and Chris Evans. But it sort of feels like that's as far as it goes, really. You've also got David Yates directing. I mean, he did 4 of the Harry Potter films as well as the Fantastic Beasts franchise. So, again, just huge talent in making this film, but it just doesn't quite land properly.
No, it's funny, isn't it? Stevie, were you more convinced, or what were your thoughts?
I think I went in with high expectations, and the way the film was presented, I think if you look at the trailer, it comes across as this like sassy, funny black comedy about these people who like got greedy, and then like look what happens to them at the end, But when you actually press play and watch this film, it doesn't land that way, and it actually kind of is a bit of a thud, if you will, and the whole time you're just like waiting for a joke, or if you're waiting for something, and it doesn't go there, and it's just a weird film in that process, because the storyline's very fascinating. I mean, it's about the true life situation where this drug called Subsys was being passed out to normal people who said that they had a migraine, or like just they broke their arm, take this drug, and it turns out to be fentanyl, and people got addicted and people died. And so this is quite dark in that sense, but I don't know. This film just didn't kind of play the way I hoped it to be, and the whole time I was just like, there's a big question mark on like, what's wrong with this movie? Why is this film like this? And it almost feels like they all signed up for it and then showed up, and that's it. Like they didn't really like do more with it afterwards.
Well, we should say, of course, director David Yates did an incredible amount of research putting this together, and he actually spoke to us about the painstaking lengths he went to make sure that he was getting this story right.
We spoke to a couple of mothers who'd lost their kids to the opioid crisis, and we wanted to understand what it was like dealing with that and how those situations occurred. And we wanted to sort of honour that aspect of the story. We also engaged with an opioid sort of charity, basically an organisation that counsels victims and families of victims, and we sought their advice.
Pain Hustlers is out now on Netflix. Look, we've got no time, but very quickly, should we do, it's Halloween next week, so should we do quick Halloween recommendations? I just have to say, if you're on Apple TV Plus, the Enfield Poltergeist, it is terrifying. It's a documentary that has real recordings from the time and actors voice them out. And honestly, if you want to be scared, watch that. Stevie?
The Fall of the House of Usher. It's on Netflix. I think it's not only one of the scariest shows of the year, but it also is one of the best shows of the year. So I'm just putting that out there.
And I've got to recommend Five Nights at Freddy's, a new film based on the game about animatronic toys kind of coming to life. And I mean, there you go. That from that very description, that is terrifying, isn't it?
It is really. And on that note, we will leave you. If you've enjoyed watching us, don't forget that you can hear the longer version of Backstage, the podcast. Just scan the QR code, which is on your screens at the moment, or just look up the podcast, however it is you normally download yours. That's it from us then. Thank you to Claire and thank you to Stevie. And we'll see you again very shortly.